It's the Professional MasterChef Quarterfinal. These 4 talented chefs stood out in their heats. Now, they will be judged on 2 challenges designed to test them even further.
The quarterfinal is a massive round. It's really about showing the judges I'm still firing on all cylinders.
It's a crazy experience. I don't think it's really sunk in yet that I'm actually here.
Every round, the nerves are still there, but I'm gonna give everything I've got.
I'm losing night's sleep over this. Honestly, I can't imagine what's going to be thrown at me. I'm just trying to keep smiling through it, to be honest.
First, they will have to devise a dish from scratch using some unexpected ingredients.
It's funky, it's quirky. I think it's a very nice plate of food.
Before cooking for 3 of the country's most discerning food critics.
I'm just absolutely blown away by this.
Only the best will earn a place in the semi-finals.
This is where the competition really does start to heat up.
I want to see who's got something special to show us and who is going to rise to the challenge.
You 4 chefs have shown us some fantastic cookery so far. Keep it going, but this time we are going to turn it up just one more notch. Underneath the box in front of you is a clue to your challenge. Reveal your clue.
Your challenge, chefs, is to make us an outstanding restaurant-quality dish using preserved and tinned food. Through these doors, we have given you a selection: preserved meats, fish, pulses, fruit, and veg. Take these ingredients and make magic with them. We are giving you 10 minutes to have a good look and really get a great idea together. Chefs, please go and select your ingredients.
Definitely a shock, yeah. I mean, I don't even use a tin opener at work at all. I mean, I can try and come up with something that I've done at home, I guess.
It's all coming together in my head, so the plan is I'm going to really sort of focus in on my Mediterranean roots.
I'm very clueless right now. I'm trying to put it together as I go along, to be honest. Nothing in mind. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, to be honest.
Food that goes into tins and jars generally is at its freshest. We put it into jars and tins to preserve it, to look after it. There's a lovely array of ingredients that we've chosen for them. They can take inspiration from anywhere around the world.
We know with preserved ingredients, you can create fantastic savoury dishes and desserts. And I'm expecting something special.
I had a minute to think and came up with a couple of ideas, and they've had all of the ingredients for my first idea, so I'm going with that.
Chefs, I hope you've got a great choice of ingredients. You're going to have 1 hour to cook us one dish. Off you go.
How do you get spam out of a tin?
So I'm just getting the base on for the beans.
Junior sous chef Anthony currently works at a Michelin-starred restaurant in London, and he has proved he can deliver some well-presented classic cookery.
I'd say there's 2 sides to me as a chef. I definitely love a plan, but there's definitely times at home or in the kitchen that I could just, spur of the moment, just bring things together. So I really do enjoy doing that as well.
How are you doing, Anthony?
Yeah, doing well, doing well. I like the challenge.
You like the challenge?
Yeah, I'm excited by it, to be honest.
Well, tell us, what's inspired your dish today? What are you doing?
Breakfast has inspired me, to be honest, with the baked beans. So I'm going to do them spiced masala baked beans.
Baked beans. Oh, you're brave.
I want to give them a lift, really. A little bit of kick and spice.
What else are you putting into the dish that's going to give it the real wow factor?
So on the side is panis, so chickpea crisp, rolled in pistachios.
Like little soldiers to be dipping into the beans.
Exactly.
Beans and chips for breakfast. Hey, bring it on, Anthony.
Anthony has chosen the most famous beans in the country. He's going to take them to a whole new level. That alone is a challenge.
Anthony has cut up some sourdough circles, which is going to coat with sumac, and that's going to be like the crunch you cut through when you eat your beans. He's got a chickpea crisp, which is coated in turmeric and pistachios. He looks like he's enjoying it, and he's confident it's going to be something with texture and it's going to be something stunning.
Private chef Dan has worked in kitchens all over the world and stormed through the heat with his impressive Thai-inspired signature dishes.
I'm a very organised chef. I like my lists. I like to know what's going on next. And obviously in competitions like this, you can't do that. It's something I need to improve on, of thinking a bit quicker on my feet, and I'm using this as an opportunity. Probably not the best opportunity to pick to do that, but I'm using this as an opportunity to progress myself in that area.
Dan, when we announced this challenge, you looked very concerned. Have you settled into it?
I haven't really settled into it. I'm just going along with what I've got, picking up familiar ingredients and trying to build from that. Essentially, I'm going for tomato sauce with pasta. I've used tinned tomatoes, and I'm using capers, the preserved lemons, the anchovies, there's a sharpness, a saltiness to cut it through. So it does sound quite boring, but I'm trying to elevate it, focusing a lot on the flavours that you can get from tinned ingredients.
Dan, you're here in our quarterfinal. How does that feel?
Oh, it's overwhelming. You know, this time last year I was working in a supermarket stacking shelves because of COVID. Now I'm here, so I can't complain. I'm just trying to enjoy the experience.
Hold on. You were in the supermarket stacking shelves with tins?
I was on fresh food aisle.
Dan's dish is all about the flavour. It's all about the ingredients he's going to put with the tomato sauce, the capers, the anchovies, the preserved lemons. It's simple, it's straightforward, but what's that point of difference? Is he going to create a dish that's restaurant standard? We'll soon see.
Dan has chosen dried pasta, but I think he's going to attempt to make fresh pasta.
I've got my fresh pasta dough done here. I just don't know if it's had enough time to rest, and it's a bit of a risk, so I've got my dry spaghetti on as my backup, and I'm leaning towards the dry spaghetti at the moment.
Chefs, you're halfway. You've had 30 minutes.
Self-taught sous chef John has stood out in the competition with his passion for showcasing foraged ingredients and creative flavour combinations.
John is doing a take on cassoulet using tinned ham and cockles. The cassoulet is like stewed beans. The beans got a lovely texture to them.
We've got some dried mushrooms, which is going to be turning those into a sauce. We've got artichokes.
The tinned asparagus was not good. It's really overcooked, so I needed a new vegetable element. So we're going crispy artichokes.
The pressed ham, generally people don't cook it, but he's going to put this into his cassoulet with the cockles. So I hope he tests it, cooks a piece, tries it out. Sometimes it can also be quite salty as well, so he needs to be very careful about the amount that he puts into this dish.
Creating dishes is one of the more enjoyable parts. I think if you don't enjoy coming up with ideas and then seeing them through to fruition, through trials, tasting them, and then seeing them go out into the dining room and customers love them, that's what cooking's all about.
John, you love foraging, you love fresh ingredients. I suppose you don't visit the pantry that often.
It's not the kind of food I'm used to cooking in a restaurant, but it's definitely not the scariest challenge it could have been. I grew up fairly not well off, so this is kind of the food we ate growing up. Also started off cooking in not very fresh food places. Actually had one disgruntled chef leave the restaurant, and his leaving gift was to take all the labels off every tin. So staff food for quite a while was chicken breast and 3 tins.
Gibraltar-born head chef Nico loves bringing his Mediterranean influences into his cooking but sealed his quarterfinal place with a knockout cheesecake.
Still being in the competition is absolutely massive. Really, it's about making everybody sit up and listen. Nico is here, he's on the scene, and I want to do big things.
When you lifted that box up, you smiled. Why?
I'm used to seeing tins and tin openers. I don't want to say I was relieved, but my grandmother grew up in the shadow of World War II, so they relied really heavily on tinned goods. It's the kind of thing she taught me to do.
Wonderful. Tell us, what are you making?
So I've got a duck croquette using the duck confit, and then I've also got a base styled on a traditional Spanish stew, so we call it a potaje. And it's just tomatoes, some garlic, loads of onion with some red wine. And then I've got a little Moroccan couscous to go with that.
I like your choices of ingredients. You've got quite a bit of spices on there.
Gibraltar bridges the gap between Spain and Morocco, so I'm going to pay homage to them with some spices.
I like the fact that Nico is reflecting on where he's from and bringing those influences into his dish.
Spanish bean stew generally cooked for hours and hours and hours. So he's going to need to get the spices working and elevate those beans in a very short period of time.
Nico is using the preserved duck in his croquettes. As always, the danger with croquettes, if they're too wet, they will just fall apart. Too dry, it won't be pleasant to eat. Chefs, you have 15 minutes left.
That isn't working, is it?
Tin spaghetti it is.
The tinned ham's come out as nice as tinned ham can. It's nice and crispy. Happy with how the dish is coming together.
Arguably not the most exciting thing, but I'm happy with the flavour it's come through. It's tin food at its finest, I'd like to say.
Chefs, you've got 5 minutes left. 5 minutes. Let's go.
Final push, just trying to get everything on the plate in time.
Chefs, you have 30 seconds.
That's it. Time's up. Stop what you're doing.
First up is junior sous chef Anthony, who has used the tinned ingredients to make a breakfast dish of masala-spiced baked beans topped with crispy tinned ham and sumac crouton, served with a panisse or chickpea chip in a pistachio crumb and a coriander and lime dip.
That's hot.
You eat that for breakfast?
Wakes you up in the morning, no?
Wakes you up?
Yeah.
I normally use an alarm clock. It's funky, it's quirky. You've taken the humble tin of baked beans, which is ready-made, and you've spiced it. You've given it some power. The crispy bread on top is lovely. I love the crispy ham that you've used as well. But I think you could have done a little bit more, and I think you could have been a touch more adventurous.
That has got a kick. That definitely is hot, but I like hot. And you've still got the light sweetness underneath it of the baked beans. The curry chickpea panisse, I quite like that with the pistachio on the outside, but I didn't think your lime cream had much to bring to it. I see your cheeky side in this, Anthony.
Anthony, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The beans are a bit controversial and they're a bit simple, but I really wanted to go down the Indian route, and I think I pulled it off. Can't go wrong with baked beans, huh?
Private Chef Dan is serving spaghetti with a tomato and basil sauce made from the tinned tomatoes, preserved lemons, anchovies, olives, and capers.
I thought the tomato sauce was well made, but more of it maybe underneath the amount of pasta that's here would have been nice. I love the anchovies on it, and of course there was a hint of preserved lemon and olives. Everything that you would enjoy in a bowl of pasta. It shows you can cook, but I thought you missed the opportunity to really stand out with the ingredients that we had in that larder.
Chef, thank you, Chef.
Monica, I could see when you lifted the box at the beginning of this challenge, you were blank and you haven't dug into your repertoire. You've not been brave enough to experiment and to go for it. You've stepped back from it and you've kept it simple. We want more than simple, Dan, and I don't think you've expressed yourself enough. And I think you'll kick yourself.
Yeah, Chef.
I hope this dish doesn't set you back in this competition.
I think it went wrong because I did play it safe. I do like my planning, I like to know what I'm doing, and I just didn't want to run a risk of trying to be too creative, so I went the complete opposite end, played it really safe, and that obviously was the worst decision to make, but hey-ho, I did it.
Sous Chef John's dish is centered around the tinned ham, which he has fried and served on cannellini bean and cockle cassoulet, with crispy preserved artichoke hearts and a dried mushroom cream sauce.
I like the way you've crisped the ham. You brought the flavour out of that. The beans, you've got a nice sauce wrapped around them. I like the deep frying of the artichokes, and the dried mushrooms create this lovely mushroom sauce. You've got some nice ideas here, John. I think it's a very nice plate of food.
Thank you.
John, the challenge was to use tinned and preserved jars, and I think you really made a good selection. Tinned ham, it's great, isn't it? I mean, it's something I grew up with as a kid. It was always in the cupboard. But like this, I thought you had a bit of fun with it. For me, your cassoulet, the way you've stewed the beans down and then finished with the mushroom sauce, works together so well. The artichoke is a bit on the bitter side, but not a bad effort, I think.
I'm feeling okay after that. It wasn't something that I was expecting to have to be doing in this round, but I'd like to say that my personality came through a bit with it. So for such a curveball, I'm feeling all right.
Finally, it's head chef Nico who has used the preserved confit duck legs to make duck and black garlic croquettes served on a spiced couscous, and the tinned haricot beans to make a Spanish bean stew with bacon, tomatoes, and smoked paprika.
I love your idea. You've used a nice wide variety of the ingredients out of our larder. Croquette's lovely. It's got lovely smoothness to it. It's moist. You've got a really good flavour of the duck confit. The couscous, you've used it to sit the croquette on top of it, which is a good idea, but the couscous is overcooked. It's stodgy.
The bean stew you've got here, it's just lacking the flavours that it needs to intensify a stew like this. You had the spices, but you didn't put them in. It lacks a bit of seasoning. Don't hold back. Bring food to life. That's what we want.
Thank you.
Close, but not there yet.
It's a mixed bag of comments. I agree it was crying out for spices. I started flavouring the dish and then thought I should hold back a little bit, and that was my downfall, where I should have just really gone for it and packed it full of flavour.
Chefs, well done. All four of you were tested today. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. John, great ideas. You chose some fantastic ingredients today. Little points of difference, which I quite liked. Build on it. Anthony, you could have expanded this dish today and you could have taken it a whole lot further. Like your ideas, though. Nico, you are building and using ideas from where you're from. You've got the opportunity to really bring some of this into your cooking. You tried that today, but you just fell a little bit flat. Dan, I think rabbit in the headlights for you. And I think you're a better chef than that today. In the next round, you're going to really need to raise your game.
Chefs, you've had a taste of your quarterfinal. Take on board the feedback. You are now going to cook for our critics. So I wish you the best of luck. We'll see you back here soon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That was a curveball and they didn't see that coming.
I think we all found that a bit rough.
Yeah, brutal.
We've taken them out of their comfort zone and taken them out of the way they normally think. And I think it's going to make them stronger and better.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what the critics have to say about my food. It's every chef's nightmare, isn't it?
Our critics are going to be in for a treat.
Chefs, good to have you back in our kitchen. Today, not only will you be cooking for mere markers, you will be cooking for 3 of the top critics in the country. Tracy McLeod, William Sitwell, and Jimmy Famurewa. This is your food. Show us your personality, your flair and style. At the end of this, 2 of you will be going through to our semi-finals.
This is your chance to shine. 2 courses, 1 hour, 15 minutes. Give it your best. Off you go.
Huge pressure to cook for critics, but great opportunity to see how I can get better and improve my dishes. I've not done the whole run through before, so I'm feeling a bit of pressure in getting it all done. I definitely see myself in a lot of danger. I failed to show what I can do. I disappoint myself, disappoint the judges. I'm fully aware of that. So I have a lot to pull out the bag and prove.
Dan, what are you cooking for the critics?
So I'm going to start with salmon Kinilaw. Kinilaw is essentially the Filipino word for ceviche, with a sauce made using coconut milk, salmon heads and kombu, finished with a chive oil and some compressed and marinated cucumber. When I first started cooking, I was working with some Filipino chefs, and they made this dish for me. I ate it, fell in love with it, and I've tried to develop that dish, put my own twist on it.
Like the sound of that.
For the second course, I'm going to do a soy marinated beef with champ potato, pak choy, pickled shiitake, and crispy lotus root. I'm part Irish, I'm part British, I'm part Chinese. You're talking about very opposing cultures, like mashed potato with pak choy, soy sauce. Doesn't sound like it should go together, but it's trying to put a bit of me on the plate, if that makes sense.
Oh, I quite like his menu. Sounds very interesting. Dan is making salmon Kinilaw, which is marinated salmon. So he's going to make sure that he does not over-cure the salmon, because it will start cooking the fish if he does it too soon.
The sauce sounds delicious. So coconut, kombu sauce, good fishy flavours that are going to be wrapped around that beautiful diced salmon. Main course, soy marinated beef. I love sirloin. I think it's a great cut, got great flavour, it's got a lovely texture bite to it. He's going to be putting that into the water bath and then searing it in the pan. With the soy, the sweet soy, the pak choy and all the flavours he's putting with it, I think it'll work very, very well.
I'm not looking to overcomplicate a dish at all. I'm just hoping it all comes together. And I'd like to think it represents me. Well, if it's good, it does. If not, maybe not.
I've never cooked for critics before, but it would be a big achievement for me for my career. For them to enjoy what I'm cooking and to understand who I am as a chef. Everything is going to have to be perfect.
Anthony, you look like you've come in with a plan.
Yeah.
Time plan.
Time plan, yeah.
Does it work?
It does work. It worked on the first round, so hopefully it will work this round as well.
Nice to see.
Yeah.
What's your menu?
So for starter, we have roasted macadamia nut scallops with a Jerusalem artichoke puree, pickled Jerusalem artichokes, crispy Jerusalem artichokes, a black cardamom infused broth, and it's finished at the table with the smoke.
Under a cloche?
On the cloche.
On the cloche.
Got it. Main course?
We've got poussin roasted on the crown, served with a spring roll pastry tube filled with mousseron, Swiss chard, and a tandoori masala poussin leg.
You did the baked beans with the spices, didn't you?
I did, yes. I think spices is a lovely flavour to bring into any dish, especially with modern French cooking, and it's something I personally like, really.
Anthony's first course, what he's done, he's going to slice the scallop not all the way through. He's then going to put some of the macadamia nuts inside, roast it, so you've got the centre filled with the macadamia nut. I'm interested and I'm intrigued. There's a point of difference there that I actually quite like.
We have Jerusalem artichoke in various different forms. Jerusalem artichokes are beautiful. You can use the insides for puree, you can pan fry them off, and the little shell, as long as they're washed well, can be deep fried and crisped up for some texture on his dish. His main course, Anthony is roasting his poussin on the crown, and I think it's a great way to do that, especially if it's a very small bird.
Anthony has taken the legs, he's marinating them with masala, and then he's going to confit them in a chicken fat, which is a lovely idea. That will really bring back that lovely poussin or chicken flavour. And he's going to mix those with a mouton mushroom, which is a nutty mushroom, and chard, and then he's going to put that into a pastry case, almost like a spring roll.
I've got a lot of nerves running through my body at the moment. I don't want to leave here regretting anything, so I'm pushing myself as hard as I can. Back home, I've been feeding these dishes to my partner. He's a devastating critic, so it's really set me up well for the critics and made sure that I'm prepared for Judgment Day. So I'm starting off with a venison tartare, enriched with a truffle dressing, and then I'm finishing it with some crispy buckwheat, some pickled blackcurrants, and finally a soy and egg yolk gel. Main course is a roast loin of cod, and that's going with some kombu buttered kale. Got some pickled mussels from Cornwall. Also got some pickled shimeji mushrooms and a soy, ginger and chilli broth.
Right.
And how are you finding the competition so far?
It's a lot more challenging than I had perhaps come into it thinking it was, but I am highly competitive.
So you're not going out of this race without a fight, are you?
I am going down fighting and swinging if I have to.
I like it. Venison lends itself very well to a tartare. It will have a lot of flavour. Traditionally, you have a raw egg yolk with a tartare. Nico is taking his and he's putting soy through it and turning it into a gel so you can actually pipe it on.
Truffle dressing with the egg yolk and the richness of the venison and the soy is a marriage made in heaven, if the balance is right. Too much truffle oil and the dish is dead. Nico's main course is cod, which he has salted. That draws out the moisture of the fish and gives it a really good texture. He's then going to pan fry that in butter so we get a lovely caramelisation around the outside. Mussels, he's just going to pickle the mussels and they're going to sit around the plate.
We've got sea herbs, so Nico is bringing the flavours of the ocean through his cod dish, and then a wonderful mushroom, soy and ginger broth to bring something different to it.
Massive opportunity today. There's a lot to do. There's no point taking it easy because it's not gonna see me through to the semis.
John, looking forward to this?
Yeah, really excited. Really happy with these dishes. They really sum me up. That's the thing I'm really proud of. So excited to see what everyone has to think about them.
What's your menu?
So for main course, I'm cooking lamb neck. I'm cooking it in the water bath, and then serving it with a big wedge of a nice big potato rosti, Roscoff onions, parsley root puree, black garlic ketchup, and a sauce made from blackcurrant leaves. I spent lockdown growing blackcurrants in my garden just for this dish. Got a whole blackcurrant leaf patch now.
Nice one.
And then cherry souffle for dessert, basing it off baked pois tart, and then baking an almond shortbread on the top of it as it rises with a amaretto ice cream.
Wow, souffle, that's brave.
They are the best. And I think you only get one chance to be in this kitchen, so I'm gonna make the most of it.
John's main course, lamb neck has got so much flavour in it. He needs to make sure that he trims all the sinew off the lamb neck, because if a lot of that sinew is left on, it can pull in and become quite tight and tough. John has got potato rosti, which is the grated potato and a lot of the moisture squeezed out of it.
John's making a lamb sauce, or a base of a sauce. He's made the blackcurrant leaf and oil, but he's also got some of the blackcurrant stem that he's chopped up and put into the sauce as well. So, nice addition, bringing the stem into the making of the sauce.
You'll recognise it as blackcurrant, but it's not got the sweetness of the fruit. It's got a lot of, like, the herbaceous floral notes that a blackcurrant has.
Interesting combination, the blackcurrant leaf with lamb. Combinations that I've not tried before.
Soufflé, soufflé, soufflé. This is the soufflé base, but you won't be able to tell the difference between this and a bit of jam when it's in the bottom of there baked.
For dessert, we've got a cherry soufflé, but we've also got raw biscuit on top of the soufflé. But my mind is telling me that the soufflé won't rise because it's got a heavy biscuit sitting on top of it. I'm curious to see if this works.
It's really nice to be back here. It always is. Feels like, you know, the universe is realigning a little bit when I'm sat at, maybe not quite a table as big as this, but at one of these tables, it feels like there are discoveries that we could make here.
It goes without saying that the chefs that apply for MasterChef professionals are very ambitious. So what I'd love to see is that ambition really reflected. You know, don't just feed us, thrill us, excite us.
What I like to see on a plate is food with a bit of guts, earthiness and self-belief. And something I just frankly want to eat and not photograph.
Chefs, 10 minutes until the first course is served for the critics. Dan, that means you.
Yes, chef.
Are we gonna be okay?
Yes, chef.
All right, come on. You can do this.
Dan's starter is salmon Kinilaw, marinated in compressed cucumber, crispy salmon skin, coconut and kombu sauce with chive oil. And if I was in a restaurant, I'd just go, yes, please, I'll have that.
Kinilaw is a cured raw fish in a kind of ceviche mould. Absolutely beautiful with real sort of zing and punch to it.
You know, you've got the kind of yieldingness of raw salmon, you've got the crunch of compressed cucumber, and then the crisp salmon skin. I think what it promises is real contrasts and textures.
Dan, how are we doing? A couple of minutes left to go.
I'm finishing off my sauce for my Kinilaw now.
You ready to face the critics with your dish?
Ready as I'll ever be right now.
Come on then, Dan. Off you go and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Aye.
So for your first course, I've got a salmon Kinilaw, made with a sauce from the salmon head, coconut milk, kombu and bonito flakes. It's finished with marinated and compressed cucumber, bit of chive oil and crispy salmon skin. Please enjoy.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
I really love very tart, sharp dressings and marinades, and that really pushes it in a kind of delirious way. Compressed cucumber is beautifully done. I'm really, really impressed.
Curing fish and mixing it with a sauce that is so delicately and beautifully balanced, of the kind of lemoniness to it, that oil. It's a really beautiful dish.
It's so vibrant. It brings your mouth alive. I think if I had a sort of complaint about it, it would be that the salmon sort of almost over-cured, over-marinated.
The flavours sing through, you've got a little bit of the sweetness, you've got a touch of acid in there. The coconut dressing is quite nice.
The texture of the salmon skin is nice, there's a bit of crunch, but the salmon is tasting over-cured. I'm not enjoying it as much as I wanted to. 15 minutes to main course. Are you going to be on time?
Yes.
That was a nervous yes.
No, solid yes.
So Dan's main course is soy marinated beef. If the beef is rich and salty because it's been well marinated in the soy, this could be a really nice dish.
Pak choy and oyster and sweet soy, spring onion mash, pickled shiitake and crispy lotus root. It does sound like a kind of Asian spin on a traditional meat and potatoes main.
That's your champ, I assume?
That is my champ, yes.
Is that how they serve it in Ireland?
I've never been to Ireland.
What?
My grandmother's Irish, but I've never actually been.
Beef's looking good.
Yeah, I'm happy with how the beef's come out. Hopefully the taste is there as well.
What's left, Dan?
The pak choy and the lotus root.
And is there a sauce with this?
It's just a bit of the glaze of the sweet soy and oyster sauce that I cooked the pak choy in.
Are you happy then?
I'm just starting to rethink everything now, and I think there's areas I could improve.
Keep your head up, and let's go. They're ready for you.
Yes, chef.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I'm slightly concerned there's no sauce with this dish.
There's a lot of it, and you sort of want something to bring it all together.
Thanks, Dan.
So we have soy marinated beef sirloin, served with a champ mash, pak choy with a sweet soy and oyster sauce, and crispy lotus root with pickled shiitake mushrooms. Enjoy.
Amazing. Thank you.
I'm not unhappy, like, I just feel I could have offered more. I'm always hard on myself, that's just the way I am. As soon as I do something, I'll still find ways to improve it. But, you know, there's always a glimmer of hope.
Dan's got a very delicate touch, and he's managed to pull off quite a rare balancing act of subtlety, but also big bang flavours. That spring onion mash, really creamy, just underpins all of these more vivid flavours on the plate.
The beef is cooked beautifully. I really love these pickled shiitake mushrooms. The soy glaze and the oyster sauce adds that little bit of piercing savouriness to it.
This mix of classic British ingredients with Asian twists and flamboyance, the saltiness of that soy and the beautiful way that he's marinated it. It looks so pretty. It's just great.
Is a fraction away from having a cracking main course here. Beef is beautifully cooked, the champ is delicious, it's nice and smooth, the spring onion works well, but it's the sauce, it's the marinade, that's what it needs more of.
Oh, Dan. Anthony, you've got 8 minutes for your first course. You've got the scallops, I can see them, they're ready, prepped on your bench.
Just need to finish them off in the pan.
Roasted macadamia nut scallop is really intriguing, like the sweetness of the nut playing against the sweetness of the scallop.
Anthony, you've got your time plan. Is it all to plan?
It is all to plan, yeah, just time went really quickly.
He's taking two classic ingredients that you see in the sort of smartest restaurants, the scallop and Jerusalem artichoke.
That's your puree?
That's the puree, yeah.
He's almost throwing down the gauntlet to say, look, I can do all this, and I can also do artichoke 3 ways. In fact, I can do it 4 ways because I'm turning it into a broth. So, yeah, Anthony, I'm up for it.
You need to start getting a move on now because you've got the smoke to do, yeah? What are you smoking it with?
So these are just normal wood chips.
You done?
Yeah, all done.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Wow.
Wow.
Anthony's starter is a roasted macadamia nut scallop on a Jerusalem artichoke puree with pickled Jerusalem artichokes, Jerusalem artichoke crisps, and a black cardamom-infused Jerusalem artichoke broth.
After the kind of extravagant, flamboyant unveiling with the cloche, the scallop just seems tired, and I dare say slightly overcooked.
There's like a macadamia nut crumb somewhere in there. I'm getting a sort of residual crunch to it, but certainly it's not what we were expecting.
We had those visions of, the macadamia nut crust, and that's broth, and Jerusalem 3 ways, and this dazzling fiesta. It does just feel like a bit of a letdown.
It's very light, and I do like the hint of the smokiness coming through the broth there. The puree is a bit on the watery side.
The scallop's on the border of being overcooked. I think it'd have been better just putting the macadamia nuts on top. I think the dish needs work.
So for his second course, Anthony is making poussin, roasted, hopefully nice and succulent, with the tandoori masala, poussin leg. Unusual twist to kind of throw in the middle there.
2.5 minutes to go. You look like you've got a lot left to do.
Yeah, I just need to pipe the mix into here, finish off the poussin, and then start plating.
So into the tube is the tandoori poussin leg.
Yeah. We've got the mousseron and the Swiss chard.
What is that?
That's date puree.
It's an unusual and challenging combination of flavours. The whole thing reads a bit like, yeah, we know chicken doesn't taste very much. I'll throw in most of the ingredient cupboard and give it a little bit of character.
You are running behind, OK?
Yes. But I'm sure it's a lot more thought through than that.
Is that it?
Yeah. So we have poussin roasted on the crown, finished with a buckwheat and breadcrumb top, with spring roll pastry filled with mousserange, Swiss chard, and tandoori masala. Poussin leg finished just with a Madeira jus.
Great stuff. Thanks,
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
That is a weird-looking plate full of food. It doesn't look like a meal. It looks like a lab specimen.
On the plus side, he has cooked the poussin very well. The pastry is well made. The confit of the leg has got a bit more flavour. Unfortunately, it's not a pleasure eating it.
The jus, although it's split and oily, smells fantastic. Lovely depth of flavour. Although it strains, the kind of tandoori and Madeira make friends quite nicely, but it just seems like a total work in progress.
Got a nice texture on the poussin. The little spring roll is flat, it's under-seasoned. In fact, the whole dish is slightly under-seasoned.
I really like the Madeira sauce. It's not too sweet in Madeira. And then the filling of the tube or the spring roll, I think he could have done a bit more to really enhance it.
It's definitely one of the hardest things I've done in my career, definitely, yeah. It's just the time just flew past, and there's not how I wanted to plate everything, but and all the elements were not perfect, but I managed to get something up, which I'm happy with.
Nico, you've got 2 minutes left.
Yes, chef.
You've started plating.
Yes.
We're on time then?
We are on time, chef.
Nico's starter is venison tartare with toasted buckwheat.
What's left to go on your tartare?
So I'm just going to put some pickled blackcurrants on there, which will bring the acidity in, and then the soy egg yolk gel, and we're good to go.
So this is a play, of course, on beef tartare, where you put a raw egg in the middle. And he's being fancy because he's managing to combine soy with his egg yolk and turn it into a gel.
The only thing that worries me slightly is the idea of the truffle dressing. That is an incredibly invasive, overwhelming flavour.
Done.
Good luck. Off
Thank
you
you.
go.
Nico's first course is venison tartare with buckwheat and a truffle dressing, served with soy egg yolk gel and pickled blackcurrants.
Oh, wow.
There it is, truffle oil.
The worries about the intensity of that truffle were proved correct, I think. It absolutely blows your head off. That is kind of off-puttingly intense for me.
The thing I do like about it is the egg yolk gel. That's got a lovely, rich, deep, yolky flavour, which is really nice.
I actually think the raw venison is very, very good. Beautifully cut, well seasoned. I love the way the little blackcurrants pop in the mouth. Absolutely beautiful. But the problem is it's completely wrecked by the truffle oil. It's a shame.
It's a very modern way to present a tartare here from Nico. And I really like the sharpness of the currants. I also like the flavour of the yolk of the soy, but it's just too much truffle oil running through this tartare.
Nico, 15 minutes for your cod. All good?
Yeah, I've just got to cook the cod and finish all the little garnishes, and it'll go straight on the plate.
I love the idea of taking a really well-cooked piece of cod, falling, you know, into lovely pearly chunks, and then surrounding it with these complex flavours. Kombu buttered kale, mussels, sea herbs, pickled shimeji mushrooms, a soy and ginger broth. The challenge for Nico will be not overwhelming the fish with all these quite combative flavours.
Right, Nico, you got 1 minute.
Yes, chef.
Your plate's looking good and ready to go, but your fish isn't.
I'm going to be slightly late. Just need that fish to finish cooking through.
It sounds appealing, and it sounds modern, and it sounds like it could be a really elegant, neat piece of cooking.
Right, you all done?
Done, chef.
Come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Off you go. Good luck, Nico.
Thank you. So I've cooked a roast loin of cod with kombu buttered kale. There's pickled mussels, pickled shimeji mushrooms, and I've got some sea herbs around the plate as well. And it's finished with a soy, ginger, and chili broth.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The centerpiece, which is the cod, is flaky and soft and fresh, and I think really tenderly, beautifully cooked. But there's also a generosity about this. All of the greenery and the bulging sweet mussels, which the pickling has actually created something rather amazing.
They're almost like cockles. They've got a kind of seaside-y, briny, sweet punch to them. They and the cod go really well.
My only issue with this is just the saltiness. Salty kombu, salty broth, salty fish. It did feel like a glug of seawater at times.
I love the saltiness. It makes me just want to drink more white wine, which makes me very happy.
I think the cod is cooked beautifully. I like the pickled shimeji, and the broth has got a bit of warmth at the back of the throat with the hint of that ginger.
If the shimeji mushrooms and the mussels weren't on this dish, I think I'd find it just a little bit too salty. They do help to break it down.
The pressure of cooking for those critics was immense. I was underestimating how nerve-wracking it was going to be, and it was almost like an out-of-body experience. But for now, I'm happy with what I've done.
John, you're flying through this kitchen. How are you doing? You getting there?
A little bit tight on time now, but should all be there.
John sounds like he's just come back from a kind of chefy conference. So he's got a forgotten cut of lamb neck, and then he's got foraged hogweed. And of course he's got Roscoff onions because they're the smartest onions. And he doesn't just use the parsley leaves, he's down at the root making puree. So he's bang on trend.
John, good to see you started plating. Are we going to be OK?
Yeah, there on this one. A little bit worried about the souffle, but we'll deal with that afterwards.
As long as that potato rosti is crisp on the outside, cooked all the way through.
And that's the hogweed?
This is the hogweed, yes.
What's left?
Just one sauce, foam it slightly, and the main is going.
Blackcurrant leaf sauce, you know, sounds intriguing.
You done?
Done.
Happy?
Happy enough.
Nice one.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi, John.
So I've cooked lamb neck with a potato rosti, black garlic ketchup, Roscoff onion, parsley root puree, hogweed, which is a foraged herb, and then a sauce made of the leaves of a blackcurrant plant.
Thank you.
Cheers.
I'm just absolutely blown away by this. Every single bit of it is balanced really well. The lamb neck is cooked to perfection, I'd say. The rosti, it's cooked perfectly. I'm slightly in awe.
He's taken this parsley root and created almost like a kind of celeriac-style mash. It's just fantastic. And that amazing green blackcurrant, I was almost this sort of lotion, you know, it's extraordinary.
To read about it, you just thought, well, that's just novelty for novelty's sake. But when you put them all together, those ingredients work brilliantly together.
The lamb's got a lovely flavour. And the sauce is really intriguing, using this blackcurrant leaf through it. It's got a herbal note to it.
And the hogweed brings a really nice earthy flavour. This is a dish that's all about the earth. It's a grounding lamb dish. John, cherry souffle.
I'd have liked to have got the shortbread done before sending the main. I was quite looking forward to a nice peaceful 15 minutes watching a souffle rise.
So the biscuits are going to go on top?
On top of the souffle.
Before it goes in the oven?
Yeah, and then bake into it.
You're under a bit of pressure right now.
Oh, thank goodness for John giving us a souffle. Cherry souffle with an almond shortbread top and amaretto ice cream. Quite complicated, but I think it's a bit of a crowd pleaser.
I'm intrigued by the idea of this almond shortbread top. A successful souffle is something that rises. So to put a shortbread top is going to weigh it down. So that's a technical challenge there.
You've got 2 minutes left, John. That's about right?
Yeah.
Perfect timing, then.
Perfect.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
They look great.
Right, John, off you go. Looks good.
Looks very good.
John's dessert is based on the flavours of a Bakewell tart, a cherry and marzipan souffle with an almond shortbread top, served with an almond liqueur ice cream.
Oh, my goodness. When you look at the souffle, it's hidden under this kind of quite beige, biscuity top. And then you dig down. At the bottom, you've got that intense cherry jam, and then through the lovely lightness of the souffle, there's some sort of like chopped up marzipan. I mean, it's an absolute sensation.
The crust is a masterwork in that it's just got that slight textural contrast from the softness of the souffle. It's kind of almost like a pie crust.
I actually really love that almond liqueur ice cream because it was just wet enough to challenge the sugary nature of the souffle. It's lovely to end like this, on a perfect souffle with a biscuit shoved on top.
It's an aerated Bakewell tart. Exactly what he said it was going to be. That's not bad. That's impressive.
Souffles are a technical thing, but to put a twist on it like John has, it was taking a huge risk, and it's paid off because for me, that has been the most delightful thing I've had today.
I'm really proud of what I did. I think I used every second I had. I cooked food that meant a lot to me. I'm happy that it's over. I think it was a brilliant experience. Tired.
I think our chefs really came into the kitchen today with a point to prove. They all wanted to raise their game. They all did that. It was a good day.
I think John, for me today, was the chef that really impressed. He did the lamb main course and then that fabulous souffle to finish with.
John's impressed us, he's impressed our critics. John's going straight through to the semi-finals. We've got one more place for one more chef.
Anthony gave us the scallop starter with the macadamia nuts. The scallop dish, for me, was just really oddly prepared. I just found the macadamia nuts got lost in there. You know, it was just a raw nut as opposed to a nut that had been toasted through that butter.
The main course with the poussin, I did like the texture and the cooking of the poussin. I just felt the dish was just a little bit flat.
Nico gave us a great-sounding menu. We had tartare of venison. For me, it was a lovely dish, but I found the truffle overpowering.
Nico's main course, the cod, beautifully cooked, but a touch on the salty side. Dan lacked a little bit of confidence in the first round, and I think today he came back into the kitchen really wanting to prove a point.
Dan's menu started with salmon Kinilaw, the texture that was slightly overcured, the salmon. Otherwise, I enjoyed the rest of that. The beef sirloin, that was a knockout main course, and the beef was cooked wonderfully. I just wish he gave us more of that glaze as a sauce.
It's the semi-final. This is a big decision. It's a massive decision. It's a great opportunity.
I'd love to get through to the semis and just redeem myself from little mistakes that I've made in this round.
If I were to go home at this stage, there would be a slight tinge of disappointment, obviously, because I feel like I can go further. But I've given it my all.
To be honest, I'm more or less critiquing my own dishes in my head right now. I'd love to be in the semi-finals. I'd love to go on, show them a bit more what I've got and what I can do.
Chefs, what a day. Cooking for the critics is always one of the toughest challenges that we give you. But all 4 of you rose to the challenge and gave it your all.
We have taken into consideration what our critics have said today, and we have made our decision. We can only take our 2 strongest chefs through. The first chef going through to the semi-finals is John. Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
The second chef going through to the semi-finals is Dan. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you, Chef.
Anthony, Nico, thank you.
Well done, guys.
Disappointed that I'm going home today, but I'm really proud of what I've done. This competition was so difficult, and I honestly admire every chef who's ever set foot inside the MasterChef kitchen.
I really wanted to go to the next round, but I mean, watching at home is so easy, you can criticize whatever, but just being here, the pressure and time limits, yeah, it's really overwhelming.
John, Dan, you are in our semi-finals. Congratulations.
I genuinely can't believe it.
I'm shocked. I'm overwhelmed. I honestly didn't think I did enough today. My birthday tomorrow as well. It's a nice birthday present.
Gonna cook again, eh?
Words can't describe. I really didn't expect to get this far, but I'm so relieved and excited to be going forward. I can't wait to get back in here and show the judges some more of my food.
Next time, 4 new hopefuls fight for their place in the quarterfinals.
It's going okay, yeah. Not really.
Just trying to get through the initial jitters.
Go. That's not bad.
Ooh, that's a bit hard.
It's a lovely bit of cookery.
Beautiful.